friends, it's Teresa and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about my thoughts on a new movie that came out pretty recently, probably like 2 weeks ago when this video airs, 1 week ago, and that is Hard Eyes. So I have a lot of things to talk about because I kind of really enjoyed this movie. I didn't think I was going to, but if you have seen this movie and want to talk more, let me know in the comments down below. If you have any movie recommendations for if you liked Hard Eyes, also let me know in the comments because I'm looking for more movie recommendations where like genres get blended a little bit and it's just a lot of fun. But let's go. So first off, I'm going to start off with a synopsis of the movie, obviously. Basically, this follows the entire world on Valentine's Day as they're rocked by a serial killer who comes basically annually on Valentine's Day to a different part of America, or at least it's set in America, to kill couples on Valentine's Day. And it's not just like a one-off. It's not like, oh yeah, in the middle of the night he comes and kills a couple. It's like throughout the entire day. Our two main characters, who happen to be on a work dinner, not a date at all, Allie and Jay, are somehow the killer's next target for the night. And as you kind of progress throughout the movie, it's not too much of like a spoiler because you watch something happen at the very beginning. The killer doesn't just try to kill the two lovebirds, it's like the main focus is. He also kills people who are in the way. Before I start, I'm gonna start off with a forewarning. If you're looking for like a very technical kind of movie review, probably my video is not gonna be the one for you. I've done TV show reviews on this channel before, and it's just gonna be very much about the writing, the characters, and the pacing is kind of my goal for it. So if that's something you're looking for, go ahead. Obviously, trigger warnings for this. This is a thriller movie, so despite the lovey-dovey aspect of it, there is going to be lots of blood and gore. There is some sexual content. Yes, mainly the primary thing is going to be blood and gore. So if you're not a blood and gore kind of person, probably not the best movie for you. Starting off with the characters, which I think were a standout in this movie, we follow Allie and Jay, who are the two primary characters. Allie works from basically what is a K Jewelers. She's part of the marketing department, and Jay is considered to be the top freelance marketer of I guess the country. So he goes around the country helping agencies with their marketing issues, and Allie's in a bit of a pickle as she kind of is a bit jaded and had to plan for a marketing campaign for jewelry, and it just, given this the state of the country, was just a big flat fall. So they bring in Jay and she's concerned he's going to take her job, she's going to get fired. The couple initially, as we see in the trailers, meet at the coffee shop. They meet, have a cute little meet cute, or they're like, oh yeah, that's my drink, no, it's my drink, and then they're like, it's hyper specific kind of drink. And then again at work when Allie is posed with the issue of her marketing campaign being a total flop. I had a lot of fun with these two characters. They were just a lot of fun to follow. I thought that they balance each other out really well, with Allie's more logical line of thinking and Jay's more emotional head first into danger kind of situation. I thought it was fun to see kind of the roles reversed. Typically you always see like the more love-struck kind of girl and the more headstrong, logical kind of guy, but it was fun to dive into these characters as kind of an opposition of like the normal tropes that we see. Obviously they follow like beats of what a rom-com or a thriller is. They're both a little bit more caricatures. Allie appears to be jaded at love and like projects that on everything she does. Meanwhile, Jay is a hopeless romantic. But I think they individually, they're pretty well developed. As the movie went on, we get to see Allie kind of divulge more of her history onto Jay and why she thinks this way, why she feels this way. And Jay starts to kind of let his facade down as to why he's such a hopeless romantic and why he wants this big fat romance. Like, so they're a lot of fun to follow throughout the movie, and I was rooting for them. It wasn't a moment where I was like genuinely kind of a fear or afraid of what was going to happen to them, or had an inkling that they, or just didn't like them and just kind of wanted one of them to die off. I had a lot of fun thinking or rooting for them and hoping that they'd make it through the night and figure out who the killer is and stop the killer, or maybe just enough to survive the night and leave us open for a sequel. Moving on to the pace of the movie, I thought the pacing was fine. There are definitely some red herrings throughout the movie that we see. One of them was a really big red herring where like my fiance and my sister were just kind of sitting there like, is this the end of the movie? I think the pacing was fun. Like I said, I just followed the beats of both a rom-com and a thriller. It was super easy to follow. Like I said, follows the beats of a thriller where something fast-paced happens and we slow down a second to reevaluate what happened. Then something fast-paced happens and then it slows down so we can like reevaluate and see what else happens. And then something fast-paced happens and it calms back down. And then we reached kind of toward the end where it's just kind of back going. I don't want to say like back to back, but very continuous with the fast pace to let us know that this is where the end's gonna happen. the climactic moment. I think they also had a lot of fun with the pacing of a rom-com and a thriller. Oddly enough, everything blended together really well, which is where I'm going into my next point, which is the blend of genres. Like I said, moving on to the last topic, my favorite part of this movie, which was the blend of genres. This was marketed as more of a thriller, but as you watch the movie, there are a lot of beats that flow very nicely with the beats of a rom-com. I remember at some point, I think it's like during one of the montage scenes, like, you know, in a rom-com they have a montage scene where like they're getting dressed and they don't know what to wear and they go shopping, and my sister leaned in and was like, I feel like I'm watching a rom-com and not a thriller where a murder goes on a rampage, which was just really funny for me. And I just like seeing the blend of it. I think the blending of the two genres really went well together, which was wild to say. I'm sure this is not a new, like definitely not new in any sense of the word, like the blending of rom-com and thriller. But I think it was just like, for me, it felt really novel. They use a lot of the rom-com elements to really break up the heavier aspects of a thriller. And I think because rom-coms are so dramatic and so are thrillers, the two blended really almost seamlessly together. I didn't have a moment where I felt like the rom-com was over like heavy-handed versus the thriller, or that the thriller was too much versus the rom-com. I think it blended really well with one another, and it made it for a very smooth movie. I think like the humor was very campy, very over dramatic. Like obviously the romance beats of like the girl getting locked out of the apartment, the montage scene, the declaration of love. I think it really kind of breaks up or adds to the dramatics of the weight of the thriller scenes where they're trying to run from the person, or trying to like run from the killer, trying to figure out who the killer is. I think there were just a lot of like moments like that where I felt like it balanced out really well. I didn't feel like it was overpowering on one end or too little on another. It didn't feel like the rom-com was a subplot to the thriller aspects, or like a supplementary. The two of them were very well balanced in my opinion, and I had a lot of fun. Overall, my thoughts, I don't even know how I would rate this. If I'm being honest, I don't think I'm going to rate it. Genuinely, I really enjoyed the movie. I laughed a lot, I was tense, there were moments where my butthole was clenched, but it was so much fun that I was so focused on the movie that I had to stop eating my popcorn because I was wearing a turtleneck at the time, and I somehow just kept missing my mouth, and I just had popcorn all over, caught up in my collar. Yeah, so I would say it was very engaging, very much kept my attention. It didn't take itself too seriously, which I think was half the fun of it. I always feel like when thrillers, like especially like very campy thrillers, take itself a little too seriously, and then you're kind of just stuck like not enjoying the movie because it was too much and trying too hard. I think this one didn't take itself seriously, and I think that's why the rom-com elements really blended really well with the thriller, because it wasn't as serious as I think most thrillers would want you to think. I can definitely see this being almost like a Scream kind of scenario, where we have different killers taking on the mantle of the Hard Eyes killer, or just like following these two characters, or maybe like different sets of characters as the series progresses. But I also just really enjoyed it as a standalone. But that is it for my thoughts on Hard Eyes, the movie. I don't know if there's anything else named Hard Eyes, but who knows at this day and age. Like I said in the beginning, if you like this movie, let me know in the comments. If you have watched other movies similar to Hard Eyes, let me know as well. I'm always interested in more movie recommendations. If you want to see more stuff like this, let me know. And until next time, I'll see you in my next video. Bye!